I wanted to choose things that I wanted to choose music that had really inspired me and kind of and affected me and throughout kind of different chapters of my life. So because I didn't really come from, I mean, my family, it was, I think, I don't know if it's because we were an acting family or there wasn't a lot of music. There was a
Right.
lot of like, dad was either auditioning or learning his lines or, but I don't really remember putting on music a lot, unlike a lot of my friends. So I came to music my own way. And as I was, from my teens, I started getting into it myself. So whereas other friends of mine, they always had a very musical family. And
Oh, wow.
so this was more for me. It was different chapters of me going, oh, okay, I really like this, or yeah, this is the different versions of myself, particularly when I was kind of a teenager and going, oh yes, this is me, or yes, well, you'll hear when you listen to
But do
it.
you play musical instruments? Are
I
there any that took your fancy? Tell me. Yeah.
I do. I mean, I tried a load of different instruments when I was at school, and because I had this idea. I started trying to learn the harp at one point, but my idea was really that I wanted a little Gaelic Celtic harp that I could sit on the beach with and be like, that was my idea. And I turned up for my lesson and it was like this huge, giant harp that you kind of had to sit back with. And I was like, I tried that for about 6 months and just no.
And that was
It
it.
was a no. I think we even mum managed to get it in the Ford Fiesta, this giant harp,
Yeah.
and carried it up the flight of stairs. I mean,
Oh my
honestly,
God.
3 people for Christmas. And I played Silent Night once on it at Christmas. And they were all a bit like, that was it. That was 6 months of and driving it in the Ford Fiesta and carrying it up the stairs. And I was like, I didn't say I was any good. But
Silent Night is what
Silent Night.
is what they paid for.
Silent Night.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. But I
So,
did kind of after one of my exes was a fantastic musician actually, and he used to play his guitar a lot and a lot all the time. And when we split up, I realized that okay, I missed him. Of course I missed him. You always miss
mhm.
someone in a breakup. But I also really missed his guitar and having music. So I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. This is my
Yeah.
kind of get over my heartbreak is to teach myself the guitar. So I've kind of self-taught myself and sing and yeah,
Oh, that's
sing
whenever.
whenever. Oh,
All right, so
thanks.
next time it will be a guitar medley.
Oh my gosh. I mean, medley might be pushing it, but
Okay. We've
again,
gone
I'm very
past the
much,
silent night point.
yeah, exactly. Past the silent night point. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Thank
I've been guilty of that too.
you. Mm.
Instruments being more important than the person or the relationships.
Totally.
Totally been there.
Totally. But I think music really is a big heart opener and it is a very big communicator. And like, you can't help but have that. If you have someone who is talented, singing, playing, whatever it may be, you're
Yeah,
attracted to them, but you're also attracted to the whole package. And
exactly. It's something about it, isn't it?
yeah,
It's very romantic, I
it's,
think. I dated someone once whose sibling was also a musician. And that was an interesting combo because you're like, you're really good, but my sibling's really great too. And it's like, whoa, okay,
whoa,
this
yeah,
is going to be interesting.
totally.
How do you do that? You're like,
Yeah,
of course, I'm happy for them.
yeah,
Completely different perspectives and music, etc. So
100%.
which one should we go with first? The only downside to this is because
Go
we're on
on.
the computer,
Yeah,
um, we
it
can't
does.
talk while the music's playing, but in a
Fine.
way, it's
I think that's
poetically
quite nice.
correct.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's lovely. Well, I think we should start with the Edith Piaf song, Padam
Wonderful.
Padam, which,
Yeah, I've
oh,
got it
sorry, I've
lined
already
up.
said it.
No, 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 it's fine,
Yeah,
please. Yeah,
but I thought we
absolutely.
should start because that was probably one of the first ones when I was about 18 and I really got into, I loved the whole idea of this, of Paris in this time that actually my grandmother would have been there as a dancer and she
Oh, wow,
saw Edith
yeah.
Piaf sing. So I had this whole like, transported back to well that was what 19 early 19 like 19 early 1940s
I
in
mean, it just blows my mind even when you say it because is it your grandmother who was the last captain of the
yeah
Bluebells?
exactly
And
Yeah,
then I see Josephine Baker's name
exactly.
mentioned in the history of your
Yeah,
family, and
yeah.
it's mind
So
blowing, Siobhan.
it is mind blowing actually. And that's what I very much grew up with my Irish grandmother telling me these stories of being in Paris, escaping from Mussolini, who put her in prison in Italy, and all these amazing counts and princes who were in love with her, performing on stage at the Lido and escaping through Paris because her prince, literally a prince, had helped her escape from Mussolini, seeing Edith Piaf sing on stage, dancing with Josephine Baker. I mean, these stories were like, I was just kind of sat there as a child going,
But
I mean, this is
you've
amazing.
got a whole you've got a whole set of Netflix shows ready
I
to go.
this is why I'm having a rest this week. Honestly, this is my like
Yeah,
down week.
taking it back. Now, and I want to hear more about your collaboration with Neil
Mm.
Gaiman and what it's like to be mentored by him and I think Alan, and like the stories that you're telling, the fact that you're a film producer and a surfer is just
I know.
it's another level of badass,
Oh,
Siobhan.
thanks, my love.
It
Thank
just
you.
is.
Thank you.
So let's listen to
Okay.
Padam Padam.
Yeah.
Padam Padam. Is it Padam Padam? Is that
I
how we
think
would
it's
say it in
however
French?
it comes out. It's supposed to be like the sound of your
Padam
heartbeat.
Padam.
Padum, padum. Yeah. So it's like
Oh,
padum, padum, da 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 da. So it's like your heart beats is your, yeah.
all right. Well,
However
let's
it
do it.
comes out for you is your heart.
I love it. Here we go. Beautiful.
Mm. So is it recording now? We can't speak. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, great.
Qui va toujours. Padam, 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 de je t'aime de 14 juillet. Padam, 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 et toujours qu'on achète au rabais. Padam, 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 les veux-tu en voilà par paquet. Et tout ça pour tomber juste au coin de la rue, sur l'air qui m'a reconnu. Écoutez le chahut qu'il m'a fait, comme si tout mon passé défilait.
Here you go. We can talk while she's
Great.
singing. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Amazing.
Oh, well, she
Just
is
the
amazing.
production as
Yeah.
well. And I love the different colors that are introduced in the music of that time, really. But what a voice.
What a voice and what a woman, and like
Yeah.
passion and a powerhouse from this, as they used to call her the the petit oiseau, like the little bird, because she was tiny, And I remember my grandma saying that. So actually, my grandma would hate me calling her grandma because she always used to be like, "Don't call me grandma. I'm Kath." So
Oh wow.
she
First
didn't
name
like getting
terms.
older. She was a very beautiful woman, and she didn't like getting
That's
older.
amazing. In our culture, so you have a name for your nan and even a word for your nan's sister. So
Mm.
there's individual names for, mother-in-law, father-in-law, the sister of the father-in-law, the father-in-law of the sister-in-law. I mean, really, we just
Oh,
like we just.
amazing.
So the idea of having a parent or,
Mm.
an elder who's like, no, no,
Saying,
no, call me by my first
I
name.
know. I know. Well, this is what happens when you grow up in a theatrical family, because they're always, when there was an argument in our family, or I should say, when there is an argument in our family, it turns into a scene. Okay. So we've got we've got that.
Punjabis are like this too.
I bet
I've
actually.
said to them a million times, carry on. You people are going to make me famous.
Yeah.
But tell me, but it is a scene. That's exactly how it
a
is, isn't it?
scene.
It's very dramatic, emotional.
Yeah. And I'd be like, I think, they're missing the stage is what I kind of would say when I was a child. Because I'd be like, have they not been on stage very often this, in the last couple of months? Because we seem to be having a big argument, which seems to make up for it.
Well, at least everyone around them then was praying that they get work soon.
Exactly.
Is the other
Very
side of it, isn't
so.
it?
Very, very much so.
Please, somebody hire my uncle. He's driving us.
I know, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. But I mean, she was an extraordinary woman. And I think like it ties into when I was about 18, I had my first, how old was I? 19. I got my first, I suppose, big break, but like my first big break where I booked one of the lead roles in this French English co-production, which was all about Napoleon's life. And Napoleon's life after he was exiled on St. Helena. So,
oh my God.
And it was this huge French production with Richard E. Grant playing one of the lead roles. And I was playing this like a real life character that Napoleon had known called Betsy Balcom. And she was a young English woman who lived on St. Helena. And they became, I mean, honestly, she was, I think she was 14 when they met.
Right.
And they formed this extraordinary bond together. I mean, it's amazing, genuinely. If you read about it, it's kind of, no one was quite sure what happened with their relationship, but she was the only person that he allowed to get really close to him in his final years. And so people thought maybe did they end up having a love affair or something? But I was 19 and I'd booked this huge movie and I was staying in Paris and I felt so grown up and I was listening to Edith Piaf and I was like, this is how it is. Like, this is life, isn't it? This is how my acting career is going to be.
That's it. This is how it's going to be forever. Yeah.
Of course, then I realized that's not how acting goes. It can go, if you're lucky, it can go up, 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 if you're lucky. And then it'll kind of nothing for a bit.
Right.
And then you suddenly get work and you're like, why have I suddenly got work? I've suddenly got work. Why? And then it can go away again. And you're like, where's the work gone?
Yeah.
What have I done differently? Have I changed? And that is just something that you have to get used to as a performer. But with those memories and kind of with wandering through Paris at 19 years old, not even listening to Edith Piaf because we didn't have phones and all those kind of things. So just listening to it when I got back to my hotel room, or I was like, wow, gosh, I'm so grown up. Ha ha ha, 19, so feeling. Grown up. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, because I lived in the south of France for a little while, but in my early 20s, I studied out there. So I can relate somewhat to what you're saying. It's that feeling of invincibility, isn't it? Totally. And I don't know, not that I'm putting it down by any means. This thing does that.
I love what you did. Every time you waved your hand, the light changed. I'm like, wow, you've actually got magical powers.
I'm obviously in command of the atmosphere.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But it's that feeling of, I look back and I was in great shape. I've never really quite got back to that me, but that me is sort of
totally.
Always.
But I think that's the thing about, I mean, I've kind of said that I have got back to that actually, but only because of like I have this theory and it's called the Siobhan theory.
Okay, we all have
So
them. I'll tell you about
we've
mine in a
all
minute.
okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
But my Siobhan theory is really around the age of 18, 19, you're almost your most pure actually. You're your most kind of essence of like, if you're lucky, if you've had a great childhood and if things have kind of, I remember just feeling so sure about certain things and so grown up in a very, very pure way. And then your 20s happen and you kind of layer on a load of stuff and things happen to you and you either get your heart broken or you break other people's hearts or you do a bit of both, and life kind of smacks you around the chops, and then people either start dying and like as happens in fact, like life just
it gets
happens.
real. Everything gets real.
Yeah. And somehow you kind of fall off the path of who you really are, like that person that you were and is always there until I think you either start getting older, and which we all do, or you get quite ill. And I was pretty ill with long COVID 2 years ago, and I mean very ill with long COVID, and you can't, all the distractions that I used to have and that I would layer on and be like, oh, la, 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 I didn't have the energy for them. So they naturally started falling away. All the defense things, everything, like it started shedding. So I kind of now feel I'm like I'm okay. I think I'm an okay person. I quite like me. I do the best that I can. I'll exercise when I can, but I can't be some perfect idea of what I think someone should be. But I feel more in line with that 19-year-old now than I have done in a long, long time.
I think that's amazing. Honestly, and I completely relate as well. I had my accident in my late 30s, and that was it for me. It was a moment of clarity of how am I living? This isn't it.
Totally.
And these are the things I care about. I mean, there are only two things on that list plus one more out of necessity. And that was it.
100%.
Yeah, so I completely relate, because sometimes I've sat there and thought, well, where has the grown-up me gone? And she's still here. There is a version of me, but
Yeah,
it's closer to, no, I've always been this, and I just forgot
100%.
in the middle there.
100, totally forgot it and came off the path slightly. But those things, that's why I think, illness, accidents, these things that really at the time you're like, I can't handle, this is too much. But actually they do become the times that you go, that really, I know it does, those are the making of you as a person. And if you can kind of hold on to that and be like, this will pass.
And it's also having faith, isn't it, in the decisions that you made as a result of that. Because I made this massive decision to dive in, really explore my creativity, and I gave everything else my full attention for years. So it was like, well, okay, I've been to that extreme. Now let me see what's possible over here, what I'm capable of. And then COVID happened. And so what might have been a normal hero's journey of, discovery and coming back and going back became something completely different. And in the worst moments, it looks like regret, but it's not. It's really just a fear that I've ruined something that I cared about. But the decision I made was the right decision.
Absolutely. And do you mean as in your decision to
because it's tough in the middle. It's tough in this phase, and it's like, well, why couldn't I just be a good girl like everybody else and earn a paycheck and buy a house?
Because the thing, but art, like I think in the UK it's challenging, and I'm not dissing the UK about this, but I'm just I'm saying how it is, which is the arts, they aren't supported as much as they are in Europe, and nor is being an artist supported as much as it is in Europe. And again, this goes back, and I live between the west coast of Ireland and the UK because there's not much surf around here. There is a bit in Joss Bay. Okay, but in Ireland, there are subsidies as a writer. It is
Wow.
really looked as something to be very proud of, and I know where that comes from in Ireland as opposed to England, which is that in Ireland, okay, I'm not dissing the English. I'm half Irish, half English, so I honor both sides. It just means that sometimes
Understood,
I
yeah.
like myself because of
I hear that. But I hear it. And also we had Brexit, and also
yeah,
I've been to Moyven. I spent some
yeah.
time in Moyven and Dublin,
Mm.
and yeah, there's a
It's
different
just,
perspective,
but
a
I think
different value
totally.
like given to it. Yeah.
But that's because in Ireland, when the English came and took over Ireland, they tried to they knew the fastest way to get people to be compliant is to take away their stories. So they took away the Gaelic language. They tried to get rid of the artists and storytellers, which is why now writers, artists, storytellers are supported in Ireland, because they know that that is the heart of of culture of a people.
Yeah.
And
I
if you
just
take
love
that
that.
away, you're like, forget about it. But England has never been in that position. It's never been conquered. Let's face it. It hasn't been, apart from way, 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 way back in history. It's always been the one that has had the empire. So it's
Yeah.
not to worry about that. But I kind of now go, well, you should.
Yeah.
We need to worry about it, because we need, particularly when times are dark and tough, and they
We
have
need our
been,
stories. Yeah.
and they are, and there are food banks, and we need stories from all over the UK, not just from the people that can afford to sit down and write because their family is supporting them, or that can afford to be a singer or afford to be an actor, but we really need to be supporting those artists or painters. We need that, because
It's
actually,
a revolutionary act.
totally, and it's
Yeah.
that is what makes us who we are as a culture.
Yeah.
So
And it's challenging that opinion, isn't it?
totally.
We get this culturally, and people don't, and it's fine. I mean, I'm working on something new as well, where I'm looking at technology and that journey through and what it taught me about human creativity and why we have to preserve it. Because
Yeah.
all of these skills that you've got and I've got, we learn them and
Totally.
we invested in them. Sure, we had other support, but that's what
Totally.
is of value that we provide, and
Totally.
and it's important that that's articulated and understood.
Absolutely. And without saying, look, I know that the life that I've chosen, the jobs that I've chosen, I know how privileged I am. I know how lucky I am. I know that, because I come from a family of actors and artists, that ultimately when I did say this is what I'm doing and I can't do anything else, that they were 100% behind me. I know that I'm not working in a factory every day. I know that there is a huge difference between what I do and what other people do. So when I say I've had a hard day at work, I know it doesn't come close to a carer coming in and caring for people that are sick, or a doctor or a nurse. But I love what I do, and I'm hugely passionate about it.
But you're built for it, and that's what I was kind of saying, when you realize you're built for something. And I hear people talking about purpose, and no, you're choosing, you're saying this is my purpose, but actually no, it's just what you want to do.
Totally.
I don't think a purpose is something that's chosen, if there is one. Essentially, it finds you. It's I think it's where you're of service at your best.
Totally. And I think if you can tap into that and be that, and that can be any career, if you tap into that really lights you up, and then you have to follow that, and you have to follow that, because then you're in line with
I love it. I knew we'd start with music and we can go anywhere.
I know we've done one
but it's not, and it's that perception as well. Every inch of ground gained, if there is support, then that support is precious. And that mentality of like, but you're doing something no one else can, and yes, there's a privilege to it, there is, and there's a huge awareness around it. But it's not a game. It's not a game. The arts are essential, but it's not a game. Our lives are impacted.
Totally. And it's, like I said, unfortunately, and I hope something will change, because we need stories and artists from every walk of life, every part of society, every gender, everything, all those stories need to be represented.
All those voices, they all count.
Totally. So,
I agree. Okay, what's next?
Gosh, what is next actually?
Well,
That's a very good question.
Kids.
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 Let's
Okay,
we'll
go with kids.
So kids.
And feel free to talk. I just, turn because it's a Zoom.
Well, I've only okay, great. But will it be
free.
recorded? Would I say or no?
Yeah, it will be on
great.
the audio.
But this is a very different period of my life. This was like I jumped quite far forward, but kids was this amazing period in my life. I must have been about 28. And my dad, unfortunately, was very sick in hospital at the time. And I was pretty heartbroken about the whole thing. And having not had many male friends, I kind of stumbled upon, and genuinely it was a stumbling across this group of incredible, one American actor who was just shooting one of the Marvel films. I met him at a bar, and I was laughing about the fact that all these girls were kind of swarming around him.
Can you say who?
Yeah, Sebastian Stan, who's he plays Captain America's sidekick, Bucky, and he was in what was the other thing?
He was in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Winter Soldier, exactly. So we had this kind of hilarious night in Soho with this other friend of his who he just met, and for some reason the stars aligned, and I felt like the tomboy that I've always felt like anyway. I just kind of, while my dad was so sick, I would be out with them most nights while he was filming Captain America. Yeah. And this was like our anthem. And we'd be dancing and partying and just
so it's good memories.
It's really good memories of what friends mean and how important they are. So that's why.
Very, very good point. Exactly, because that's what gets us through, isn't it?
It is what it is.
We've got our family, and then there's the family that we find, the family.
And also particularly because they were men, and I felt so looked after and loved, and it was platonic and beautiful.
That's the best though, isn't it?
It's the best. And like
it's the best. There's no pressure.
Like, come on, Shivy, come on, Poochie, you're coming out with us. And I'd just be dancing with them up till 5 a.m. and going, it's such a hard time, but in this hardest time, I'm having this incredible support and love that balances this out. So
it makes all the difference, and it gives you that energy, doesn't it, to keep going and face the next hurdle. That you've got some cheerleaders around you, people who are genuinely. I love that. Is that your nickname then, Shivy and Poochie? Yeah,
Poochie was their nickname. They called me Poochie Magoo. I don't know why. They would go, "Oh, I love you, Poochie," and I'm like, I don't know where that name has come from.
Yeah.
And then Shivy is my other nickname, Shiv. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That has a Hindu element to it.
Oh, I love that.
Shivy. Yeah. My nephew's called Shivy.
Oh, really? Lovely. Shivam, that's pretty cool. Yeah, shivers I get sometimes as well.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Kids, while we're on the topic.
Okay.
Let's do it. Go. What a great tune. It's
It's
5 minutes, so I thought
Yeah, I think you're right. God, I've probably chosen all the longest songs as well.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine. I mean, they're great. It's
Yeah.
great. Everyone gets a taste, and I remember it now. I do know it.
Yeah. It was
That's
such
a
an
good
anthem
thing.
of that time. And I love that about music, that it'll pin you straight back to those versions. Like Padum, I'm straight back to kind of 18, 19. That, yeah, I've jumped like a decade.
Are you a trance dancer?
I am actually as well. Yeah.
Yes!
You doing this? I'm like, woo, yeah.
I love the trance dance.
I
Just
know.
so that our listeners know, this is Samsera speaking to Siobhan Hewlett, and trance dance is an acting thing. Okay, this is how we greet our day. Often, do you do the chair as well?
I do sometimes,
Yeah.
yes.
These are essential tools in the toolkit
Yeah,
of staying healthy,
definitely.
open.
Oh, 100%, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
I could just
That's
hear
so
it. I
funny.
was listening to it. I was like, this is a great trance dance tune.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, can't resist it.
Brilliant. So talk to me about the projects that you just finished working with. Is it Ishana
Yes, exactly.
Shyamalan, and on her new movie, is it The Watchers? I remember. Yeah. The Watchers.
Yeah.
So it's her debut. So
It's
is
her
she M.
debut.
Night Shyamalan's
Daughter.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Amazing.
So I
Wow.
can't say a huge amount because I've signed an NDA, but
Okay.
what I can say is that, yeah, I mean, she's M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, and she is a complete badass, amazing young woman who is, I mean, honestly, thank God. I mean, I said this to her a few times when we were filming together, because she's so beautiful. She's only like, is she 23 or is she? Yeah, I think she's 23.
Okay.
She's so beautiful and so charming and so open-hearted.
Yeah.
And so talented as a writer and as a director. And I really there are very few directors, and you probably have, you must know this as well, who actually know how to direct, or who actually direct at all. And then on top of that, direct well. So you kind of, as an actor, you become, I remember at drama school, they said, we're going to have to make you director proof. Okay. Which means that you direct yourself, that you work on the scene, that you break it down, that you can do it, so that when you turn up, if the director isn't doing anything, then you get on and you do your own stuff.
Yeah. And you have something.
And I was a bit like, I kind of turned up first day filming thinking, okay, what's Ishana going to be like? And I thought I might need to give her confidence because I'm older than her, because I've been in the industry for a hell of a lot longer. Forget about it. She is just extraordinary. She is a real light. She, in this industry, which is so male dominated, and she directed with absolute grace, precision, humor, love. She just, honestly, as a woman, I have a real girl crush on her, of being like, thank God, like, honestly, thank God.
No, I hear you. I think that's amazing.
Film sets can be they can be a bit toxic sometimes. A lot of kind of male fighting between groups that you can kind of pick up on when you're trying to do a scene. And I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Night, of M. Night.
Me too, yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of, and he was very present on set, didn't have to do a thing, because she was just so in command and so passionate in her art of what she does. And yeah, I absolutely love her. Yeah, I think she's brilliant. So
I think it's wonderful as well that the baton is being passed in that way,
totally,
from father to daughter.
Totally. And there was a funny thing, because I felt like, because I come from a family of theatre performers, predominantly. Okay, my dad TV and my mum TV, but they were theatre performers.
Yeah.
And going back, like you said, to the 18th century, it's like, so to come and be part of a film legacy family, like that was, I found that I found it really beautiful. And I found the kind of synchronicity of that I found it
How
really
was
hard.
it different, do you think? Like, how would you
It
describe it?
wasn't actually that different. In the sense that I got the dynamic immediately between her and her dad, because that was my kind of dynamic with my dad, was that obviously Knight has got a huge amount and more experience than Ashana, and my dad had a hell of a lot more experience than I did as a young actress starting out.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to explain, but like they had their whole family there, so in a
Yeah.
similar way to that, yes, I'm half Irish, but I was mainly brought up in the Irish way, which is quite an Asian way in a lot of ways, which is
Oh, how?
very
Tell me, tell me.
family. Well, it's very family. Like it's very, I saw,
Nuclear.
yeah. Well, it's all about the family, and
Right.
you're very tight and close, and that was what I saw with Knight. Like
Yeah.
Ishi's sisters were there, her mum was there, they were all living in the same house. It was all like, it was the family business. And that's what it has been for me. It's the family, it's like the family business. We all kind of support and help in a different way to my friends that I've grown up with in the UK. It's like there's more emphasis on family in the Irish side. There just is. And
That you're
I'm
just getting each other's backs. It doesn't matter. You just sort of in it
totally,
together.
and almost
Yeah.
like, I think, I've had it from my English friends. They're like, well, you spend either way too much time with your family, or you're worrying too much about your family, all this kind of stuff. But that's just called being Irish, I'm afraid.
It's similar in the Punjabi culture as well, because what I'm doing is quite unusual.
Mm,
And yes, there are others doing it. And I spoke to someone last week who pointed out and said, not everyone just goes and lives in New York.
mhm,
And I said, people ask me all the time, how did you get there? And the obvious thing is you get a passport and you get a ticket and you get on a plane.
totally.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't that wasn't the question. The question was, but how did you make a life, and what is it about you that made you okay with doing that? Taking that kind of
100%.
chance
Well,
with
it was
life.
very
Because I'm
brave.
quite close to my family. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I am quite close to my family, but it's
Mm,
also difficult because they have no
mm.
understanding in this
Mm.
sense. Not that they don't
No,
try or don't
it's
care, but
really
just,
hard. It is really
yeah,
hard.
there's no framework as a
No.
reference,
See,
put it that
that's what I
way.
mean is,
Yeah.
and I see that, that's why I know how lucky I am in so many ways, that my family understood, why I'm doing it, what it's like, how it is like a week before filming, which I'll genuinely be a nightmare and just think I can't do it and all this kind of stuff. But then I've got my friends who don't have who don't have family, who have family who aren't in the business in any way, shape, or form. And and it's hard for them. It is hard for them because their family don't understand in the way that mine do. And for some in particular, it's been, and in a lot of ways, just I remember one friend I was on stage with, and they said that
Yeah.
actually they came off stage and they didn't even talk about her performance once. And we were we'd literally just performed in a hit show at one of the West End theaters, and you're like, you couldn't even say how great she was. She was one of the leads. So
But it's standard and you can't take it to heart. I remember telling a family member, I just did a show at Sadler's Wells. Well, I've been on stage before. That's literally the response. Okay, that's how this conversation's going to go. So you can't like let it get into your DNA. But I hear you. It's interesting because it's almost, but that wouldn't be a cultural expectation. And when the expectation's not there, then there's no disappointment, right?
totally.
It's a mindset.
Exactly. But but it was, I mean, the whole family, they exceeded expectations of.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a real career and life highlight, actually, in so many ways, to see how things can be done differently, how things can be done differently on film sets, and how a family, particularly with the power and experience that Knight has, that the vibe on set was just so chilled. And apart from the moment when he said to me on like my first day and went, "This is like the most important scene in the movie, okay?" This is the scene everyone's going to remember. And I was like, okay, great, thanks. No pressure then. Apart from
exactly.
apart from that moment where I nearly left because I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. There's no way I can do this.
Oh my God.
Apart from that, yeah, it was all great.
I can't wait to see it. And it's coming out. Is it coming out soon? Is it
coming out next year? So it'll be next. It's June 2024. Yeah.
2024. Amazing. Yeah, I can't wait. It sounds fantastic. And I agree with what you said, you know, just to have fresh blood.
Totally.
And a different dynamic.
Great. Fantastic.
And what it can accomplish.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, just that balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we listen to?
Yes,
we've got time. I want to talk to you next about your project with Neil Gaiman and your co-producing. I'm just blown away by, you know, your talent, Siobhan.
Oh, well, thanks.
And the fact that you're getting it done. I think that's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah.
Getting it done. That's right. Okay, what's it going to be?
What have we got?
We've got Woman.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think this follows on really well from Ishi. I love Little Sims. So this is Woman by Little Sims. I mean, she's such a powerhouse. She's an extraordinary talent.
Yeah.
She's a woman. And as soon as I heard this song, I think it was my brother who introduced it to me, actually. I listened to it and I was just like, yes, thank you. And I think every woman needs to listen to it and just be like, yeah, I am a woman and this is great. So I'm picking up all the women that are coming up. Well, she's a big star now, but like all the amazing women, basically. And this is out to all my amazing women friends. And yeah.
And I second you on that fully. 100%. Okay, I'm going to hear it for the first time, I think.
Okay.
So, here we go. Let's see.
Yeah.
Naija women got the melanin dripping, L-O-N-D-O-N, city girl living in the back, looking like fire chili pepper, Yoruba girl tougher than imperial leather. He was getting bitter while she was getting better, diamonds are forever. Miss Sierra Leone looking like a gem, works hard in the week, party on the weekend. Know you wanna live with no one watching how you spend, got a thing for the finer things and the finer men. Miss Tanzania, she a do or die. Said she wanna know more about the Sukuma tribe. We hit the zoo, once wasn't enough. Got an ocean full of knowledge, you can scuba dive. Miss Ethiopia can play so jazzy. They sit you down to school, you want Selassie. Tell them you're nothing without a woman, no. Woman to woman, I just wanna see you glow. Tell them what's up. For your country, sun kissing your brown skin, looking like money. Said she focusing on being an accountant. When you have beauty and brains, they find it astounding. Why? She been getting it on her own, nigga. Self-made, ain't nobody doing gold digger. Now, Miss India always speaks with her chest. Got respect from her people, cause she leads them the best. Real life queen in the flesh, know the crown get heavy, still the bees on your head. Brooklyn ladies know you hustle on the daily, innovative just like Donna Summer in the 80s. Your time is seeing you glow now. Intelligence and elegance, show 'em how. Miss Jamaica understand food for the soul. She get up in the kitchen or she throw down. Ain't nothing without a woman now. Woman to woman, I just wanna see you glow. Tell 'em what's up. So ahead of time, and you know that you're so damn fine, girl. marijuana girl. Calm with it, never let the marijuana fail. Though a sucker for the romance, take you to the homeland. One way, she ain't coming back now. All I see is black stars and I friggin' love it, yeah, yeah. Time's up, tell the people that we coming, yeah, yeah. Done being in the shadow, going public, yeah, yeah. Don't know how to bear it, how to stomach, yeah, yeah. Hand over the shit and let us run it, yeah, yeah. All we know is looking clueless, all they know is stir. Ain't nothing without a woman, no. Woman to woman, I just wanna see you glow.
How wonderful.
Great, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just think she's and her other songs are amazing as well. And I just love it. I mean, I love women. I think women are amazing. Of course, I love men. Of course, I do. But I just think women are incredible, and my female friendships that I've had have really carried me through. All the times. I mean, I've talked about the male friendships that I've had, and I value those obviously hugely highly. But I think with what women kind of have to go through, even just on a physical level with their body, with our bodies, and then with how how society has been geared towards men. And again, I'm not dissing men, I love men, but it just has, and it's great that the stories are starting to be retold now, or at least looked at as like, oh, okay, well, we might have been believing this because we were told these stories from a male perspective, like we just were, because the men are the ones who are in power.
Yeah, and you look at the gap, don't you? You look at, it's almost, you look back now and you're like, that's not like a small distance between what's been presented as an understanding and what the actual reality is. That's a chasm.
Totally. And you even look at things like, I was really shocked, a late friend of mine had set up this incredible brain institute in America, and I found out, and he was a massive feminist, but I found out from a friend that her funding for looking at women's brains, this is in the last decade, was turned down because it wasn't men's brains to be looked at. And so even on a science level, women's bodies have not been looked at in as much detail as men's bodies. That is medically. That's why only now things are starting to be understood about women's hormones, how hormones are linked to the immune system, how the brain works, how actually when you go through your cycle, women's brains change size. Now that is incredible.
But we could have told them that, Siobhan.
We could have told them that.
We could have told them that if they just listened.
So I'm not, again, I find life fascinating, and I find the whole thing, and I'm not dissing men about it, but it's great. It's very exciting now that we are in a time that hopefully, well, in certain ways, that things are changing and that women are kind of coming to the forefront, and there's more research being done medically, and things are being available to women that there haven't been ever before in history. I find that really exciting.
It's just so important. And it helps put journeys like yours and mine into context as well, regardless of the cultural differences, because it's not that different.
No,
I think the fundamental thing that we have in common is we're women who have said, this is who I am, this is how I choose to live my life on my terms. It may not be perfect, but just that in and of itself
totally
is massive.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I get it with my mates on the west of Ireland, and like particularly the younger women. I've got one friend who, when she gets drunk, she comes up and she's like, we go surfing together, and she's like, you've no idea. And I'm like, what? She's like, just you existing. And I'm like, what? She's like, just you existing means, you know, I don't have to get married like straight away. I don't have to. And for me, I'm like, I can't quite believe that that's even a story that they've got in their heads.
Yes.
That you have to get married, that you have to follow this certain path, because I know that I come from, like, my grandmother forged out as a dancer and was around Paris. She was my example. So for me, that was normal, but I'd never realized then that the choices that I've made to be okay, to maybe not live I haven't done the 9 to 5. I didn't settle down early. And I'm not dissing that, because I think that's great if you want to do
I
that.
still haven't. So
Yeah, exactly. And that's fine. And that is fine.
yeah, it's also getting past that point and there being an understanding that you still have value,
Totally.
that you're still a person of substance
That ultimately,
beyond that.
whatever your
Like,
decision is,
yeah.
or how life turns out, great, happy days. Are you happy? Are you doing what you love? Great. Don't be judged because you've had children. Don't be judged because you haven't had
because you
children.
haven't, exactly.
Like, don't be judged for anything. Just hopefully live in line with what you want to do. And I think that's really, you know, her just kind of going like, you doing you. I didn't realize that me just being me, doing everything that I've been doing, that actually she's like, well, that's so different to everything that I have been brought up with.
Yeah.
It means that it gives me the kind of like idea that I can do anything. And that's
It's
really
not the norm. And
Exactly.
and there's a lot of courage in that. I know that what I'm doing, not that others aren't, it's not
Totally.
it's never a comparison,
No.
but of my family and culture, no one's done this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
that's
to be
historic
honest,
too.
I find that more amazing, because I don't, like, I'm used to that with, not that I'm used to it with my family, but my family is a complete oddball bunch of artists. So
Yeah.
but the fact that you have done it, and I've got my other friends who, yeah.
Sorry,
That's
Keith's here, who's
All right.
going to be Keith and Anna here.
Oh,
I'm on
great.
Zoom with Siobhan Hewlett.
Hello.
Do come and say hello when you have a moment.
Hello.
They're doing the next show,
Hello.
so
Okay,
share
great.
space.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
No.
I want to hear about your next project, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
tell
that's
me.
really exciting.
Yeah.
So yes, and actually this leads in perfectly with me talking about women and women's stories.
Yay.
And again, I'm loath. It's funny, I was saying this the other day, like, yes, I'm a feminist, but then I'm not. The idea of what a feminist sums up, which seems like a burning bra kind of thing, like, is not really
And it's
my
not
vibe.
that anymore. No, it's not.
So
And it's this idea that there's an angriness. No, it's not.
I'm not angry, I'm excited. And that's the thing, is I'm
I agree.
excited to kind of, and I'm excited with my male friends and my relationships with men, that we are having conversations that, quite frankly, a decade ago I was never able to have with men, and that are now in a space that can really be, I suppose, just telling different stories, being honest, being like, this is kind of, so the Neil Gaiman is, I met Neil in LA when I was in LA. Gosh, it must be about 8 years ago now. And he was a fan of my work, because I've been working with Alan Moore, who's one of his best friends.
Amazing.
And we just instantly hit it off, and we were like, we've got to work together. Because I mean, Neil is incredible, and
incredible storyteller.
Incredible
really.
storyteller, most prolific on the planet at the moment, I think.
But I think what made me also go amazing is that he lives in a separate house to his family, and that's cool.
Totally.
Because he's a writer.
Totally.
And that's what I call making things work.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. 100%.
Just that bit of openness to doing things differently.
100%.
Because you care about somebody, and you know.
100%.
Yeah.
And he's a wonderful human being. He's a huge inspiration. He's been a huge support. And I chose one of his most famous short stories called The Thing About Cassandra, which is a modern London fairy tale, but it's told through the eyes of a woman for once. So it's a feminist reworking of the usual fairy tale trope. Okay. So it's kind of like, it's a bit like Midnight in Paris, crossed by Amelie, with the kind of humor of Notting Hill and Fleabag. So
I can't wait.
So that's the kind of vibe, but it's all set over one night in London. And yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of it. I adapted it. I was going to get another writer, but then Neil was like, no, because he read a lot of my poems, and he was like, no, I want you to adapt it. So I took a year out from acting, a year, like after I finished the Alan Moore film. I used that money, actually. I was like, do I use that as a deposit, or do I take a year out and do I focus on writing this?
That's what
And
it takes, because I've
that's
been
what it
writing
does
too.
take.
And part of the whole experience in this region of the world was silence, get
Mm.
things written,
Mm.
journals, stacks of journals. Oh dear,
Yeah.
so much writing to do, and so many stories that are worth telling.
Totally. And
Um,
just sitting
yeah,
down and doing it. And I suppose, yeah, you've just got to do it. If you want to write. And that's what I would say. And if you really want to write, then you will write and you will make space for it. And I did. I mean, I really did put my finances on the line.
I
Quite
think
took a big
that's a
risk.
distinguishing factor between people who say they are an artist and those who are artists.
I know. I was like literally going, I'm absolutely, it's particularly when I met him to get notes on the first draft, and I'd spent 12 weeks locked away in Whitstable writing, and he gave me some hardest notes I've ever had in my life. Very different to acting notes. And yeah, I was like, wow. I mean, literally was like, he went, should I give you the hard notes or the good notes first? And I was like, good notes. And he went, hard notes then. And I was like, oh Jesus, I don't know if I can handle this. And he was like, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, third act doesn't work, in fact most of the second act doesn't work. And I was like, so painful. And yeah, but then, and he went, and if you can't fix it, I mean, it's his name is on the line. He's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be nice because it's Siobhan, and I respect her and I really like her as a friend.
No, my co-writer's like this too.
This is his, so it was tough. And he went, if you can't fix it, we'll have to get another writer to fix it. And I was like,
oh well, that's as plain as it gets.
It doesn't get any more plain. And I was like, okay. But me being stubborn and determined, I was like, that ain't happening. So I locked myself away for another 10 weeks. And by the end of which I was just not sure what I had. And I was like, he's going to get another writer, but I gave it a go. I risked it.
At least you did your best. Yeah.
But he absolutely loved it. So he didn't have any notes, and I got this.
No.
Yeah, genuinely. I sent it.
That's unheard of. That's got to be unheard of.
I know. I think genuinely, because I was looking through my debts at the time. I'd sent it to him, and I was going. I hadn't turned my phone on because I was just going.
Oh,
God, I don't know. I don't know. I've taken a year off, and now I'm really financially not in a good place. And I was kind of going through the debts, going, I don't know how I'm going to pay these. And then I turned my phone on, and there was a text from him saying, when you wake, because I was like, when you wake, you'll read this and know how simply stunning the Cassandra script is. I have no notes. And I burst into floods of tears. I screamed. And I mean, mum was with me at the time. Mum thought something terrible had happened. And I burst in floods of tears because I didn't think that was going to be the ending to all that work. I genuinely thought this was a huge, I really screwed up here. And I've really put myself in a financial situation that I don't know how I'm going to get out of. And I'm not a writer. And who was I kidding? But actually, so yeah, it was probably one of my most favorite moments on this planet, when you've worked so hard and you've really risked it and you've really gone and you've really and it was hard writing it. I did find it very challenging on every level of trying to fight the doubt of, can I do this? Will I be able to write this? Am I even any good? What the hell am I doing? He's told me that we're going to get another writer. So that's been the hardest, and each step of the way with this has been a leveling up for me. Every step of getting this film made has been a leveling up, has been a me having to stand up, step up, present, be there, and honor what I've written and be like, do you know what? I wrote this because I believe in it, because I'm passionate about it, which has had its own, in a different way. Like as an actor, you're being other people. That's what's wonderful about it. You are getting to inhabit these characters, these worlds, but it's not on you. It is on you in a certain way, but it's on the character, it's on the writer, it's in service
of something.
Exactly. Not actually standing there and going, yeah, I wrote this scene, I wrote this film, I wrote
I did this,
and, like,
you
I
know.
did this, now read it, love it, make it.
I just want to say, because what is it? Yeah, it's 6:42
Yeah,
now, so
so,
we
yeah.
haven't got long left.
Yeah.
And I'm not rushing you by any means.
No,
But I
no.
wanted to take a minute just to say a special thank you, because just in talking to you, I'm so glad we're in touch.
Mm,
And I'm
likewise.
going to be like your friend. I'm so glad you exist,
Oh,
Siobhan.
thanks, love. I really
You've not only
appreciate that.
inspired me, but well, yeah, because there's so many of us who are struggling with exactly the same issues. And unless we sit down with other artists who are going through that journey and are willing to be genuine enough to share and take that risk and put it out there, even though it's just you and me talking right now, I know that what you've just helped us understand doesn't just help me, it helps so many people. You've calmed me down. I mean, because it's the same thing. And if everyone around me genuinely thinks I'm bonkers, that's okay.
Well, you're not, you're an artist.
You know?
So,
I'm an
I mean,
artist, yeah. So just encountering you and having conversations like this, even if it's for 5 minutes,
yeah,
it's like, back in the waters, I understand. Thank you very much. This is all
thank
par
you.
for the
It's
course.
such a pleasure. I've so enjoyed this, Sangeeta.
We're not done yet.
Yeah.
We've got
Okay,
more
great.
music.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
And we've got Keith and Anne here too. Do you want to say
Lovely.
hello, Keith? Hello. You'll have to come
Hi,
over
Keith.
here
Hi,
because I'll
Anne.
break the computer probably. Something will fall down. Keith and Anne do the Folk in the Barn show just afterwards.
Oh, lovely.
So this is Keith and Anne. Anne, did you want to come
Hi,
over?
Keith. How you
Oh,
doing?
Anne's okay. Anne doesn't want
Anne's
to.
like,
Oh, really?
I'm all right. I don't
She's
need
got.
to be on
She's
Zoom.
got.
She's full of movie.
Got to be careful around Anne at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
Okay.
danger zone. Yes.
Okay.
But in a good way. Yes.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it does make it. The more I heard about someone else's story, and I've started putting out more of my music now.
Great.
Similar thing. I met someone who was like president of the Recording Academy, and next thing you know, and I had to be reminded, you know, because of this person, I hit New York like a kamikaze at one point and just sort of hit it and ran with it, just making all this music for like a sliver of like opportunity.
You've got to do it. It's called being an artist. You've got to risk it.
Exactly.
That's part of it.
We
Yeah.
go for it, and you've done that, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Really, how amazing. That had to
Thank
be a huge moment.
Yeah.
I understand and I relate completely. I would also be in floods of tears.
No, thank you.
Floods of tears. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank
So,
So, final song.
do you think final on what we got? Yeah, probably will be, knowing you and I.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be a good idea because they probably want to get on us.
Well, they start at 7. It's okay.
Oh, fine. But I think we should go with Chic, and I think we should call this the last song because it just feels like it would be a really good. I can play the other songs.
I have the others lined up too. Dream a Little Dream was beautiful. I did a little medley for that on the socials because it's a great song. Yeah. Okay. Le Freak.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of my favorites. It reminds me, I went to Glastonbury for the first time, and this was in my mid-30s, and I had the best time. Have you ever been to Glastonbury?
Not yet.
You have to go.
If I go, I want to do it properly with like willies and.
Yeah. You will.
Yeah.
You have to go
cool.
though, if you can, because I was like, I kind of wanted to go, but I was a bit like, I don't know. It looks big and it looks quite scary and I don't know. It was one of the best experiences on this planet. I absolutely loved it. And
I hear there's lots of spiritual shops around in that area
There
too.
are.
And I'm a bit kooky
brilliant.
like that, so I'm like, I don't know. I could end up at Glastonbury, but I could equally end up having my tarot cards read. So
Look, it's fabulous. It's the best party on the planet. And this
Cool.
song, I love Chic. They are amazing. And this was playing on the last day. And again, some of my happiest memories with the most wonderful people in my life. And yeah, it's all good.
Awesome. Okay, so let's play it. Let's go.
Listen to she.
joy. Just come on down to the fifth floor. Find a spot out on the floor. Listen, says she. Freak out. Listen, says she. Freak out.
Ella had a tour again next year. Ella had a tour again next year. Nowhere near though.
You're not freaking out over there, are you?
We
Happy?
freaked out for the real thing last summer. We saw them.
You
last
did
summer.
see them.
Oh, really? Oh, God, they're amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Really amazing.
I love this little bit.
Oh, it's great. Nile Rodgers is just a complete
It's
legend.
bestest. They're so good. Niles Rodgers and I mean,
Yeah.
what legends? What legends?
Legends.
Legends.
Yeah. No, it was
Totally.
kind of, for me, was my, I suppose you could call it a musical epiphany.
Oh, really?
I just absolutely loved it. I loved all of Glastonbury, and this was the icing on the cherry of the cake of Glastonbury.
How funny is this? They don't want to stop playing.
Oh, really? I don't
Yeah. I don't know why. It's like
Um,
they're
but
refusing to stop.
I am gonna have to go. Actually,
Yes.
but I wanted to end it with that because it's such a powerhouse of a song, and I think it brings everyone together. And a bit of disco. I think at heart I'm a disco queen, so I think
I'm with you.
yeah.
I
So
think
that is right.
and I know we went over we went over. We went over what we said we'd go over,
Yeah,
but we
I
also
think
went
a
over.
little bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's
No,
been
my
an
pleasure.
absolute joy. I think you're incredible, and like I said,
thank
you're a phenomenal creative.
Oh, thanks.
And I am overjoyed for you. I think this is huge, and I cannot wait to see
Thank you.
your work when it comes out. It sounds like, are you okay now after COVID and
I am. Yeah.
feeling better?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think this is a brand new skin for you, isn't it?
Thank you. No,
It's a
that
brand
really
new
means a lot.
journey.
No, thank you. Thanks, Sangeeta. I really appreciate it. And you are a
Of course.
powerhouse too. So
Oh,
keep
thank you.
keep creating. Amazingly talented.
Well, let's talk soon.
Yeah, I'd love
We
that.
should do more of this.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for having me on. Okay.
Thank you for saying yes and for inspiring
Yes.
me. And I'm pretty sure everybody else who's listening.
Oh, thank you, love.
All right. Lots
Yeah.
of love. Mwah.
Bye.
Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye.